Disclaimer, if you do not want the Kingdom Hearts story to be spoiled, please turn off this video and come back after you have played the games. Thank you and enjoy the video.
I haven't checked out the Kingdom Hearts side of things in a while, so let's look back at some moments in the series.
Shield, who else will I have ice cream with?
First thing I'm worried about saying to my friend when she's dying in my arms. Perfect concept for a DS game. The Kingdom Hearts series started back on the PS2 in 2002, developed by Square Enix, and Kingdom Hearts 358 Days was the fourth game in the series and released on the Nintendo DS back in 2009. This was the start of you having to buy every console under the sun to understand this frickin' Mickey Mouse anime boy looking ass game. I'm getting off track here. Okay, so first and foremost, I know if I don't explain this, I'm going to get comments about it. The game is called Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 because the game takes place over a course of 358 days, and it follows the story of two characters, Roxas and Xion. I would argue that you could throw Axel in there too, but as you saw in the beginning, nobody seems to care about Axel. Also, I know in the beginning it seems like you get to play as two different characters. You don't. At least in the main game, but we'll talk about that later. So you will be playing as Roxas, who was introduced in Kingdom Hearts 2 as Sora's nobody. A nobody is the empty shell that comes to life after somebody becomes a Heartless. Heartless is what somebody becomes when they lose their heart, and are basically the main baddies of the Kingdom Hearts series. 358 Days is the first game where you don't play as Sora, and for the half a person watching who doesn't know what Sora is, he is the main character of the Kingdom Hearts series, and you play as him in almost all of the games except for a select few like this one. So since Roxas is Sora's nobody, he can also wield the Keyblade, which is just some giant key that people seem to just whip anything that they have a problem with at. Tax evasion, hit it with your Keyblade. Your PC isn't powerful enough to run Roblox, Keyblade. Your crazy ex won't leave you alone, key their car. So basically the Keyblade solves everybody's life problems in this universe. So when Roxas, I guess, fades into existence, he gets approached by the leader of Organization 13, which are the other main baddies of the games. Why you like this, Nomura? The leader of Organization 13, Xemnas, takes him back to the world that never was, which is kind of like their home base world, and he takes him back to their castle there and puts him under the guidance of Axel. Axel helps Roxas learn the basics of what he needs to learn to do his missions for Organization 13 because they just want to abuse him because he has that big old key. Why they need that big old key? It's because that key has the ability to get the hearts out of the Heartless and makes them so that way they can go join Kingdom Hearts, which is just a big thing in the sky, I guess, and also a door. Why they need Kingdom Hearts? I'll just let Naminé explain it.
They're a group of incomplete people who wish to be whole.
Who is Naminé? You don't really need to know that right now. So, on the 13th day that Roxas was in the organization, they brought in Xion, who was basically created to be a clone of Roxas because apparently they can make people wield the Keyblade. I don't understand that, but okay. So after Roxas, Xion, and Axel would finish their missions every day, they would meet up in Twilight Town, go to sit on the clock tower, and have an ice cream together. The fact of sitting on top of a clock tower and risking the chance of falling off and dying, I agree that that maybe be pretty relatable. I don't want to make this video 30 minutes long, so I'm basically going to summarize the rest of the story. Xion, while one day on a mission with Roxas and Axel, I guess had a frickin' stroke or something, goes into a coma, then her and Roxas take turns playing nappy time while Axel is having a mental breakdown. And as you saw in the beginning, nobody seems to care about Axel, and Xion literally dies. Now if you're a Kingdom Hearts freak like I am, you're probably wondering, Ventus, you haven't talked about the fact that Sora's in a coma and Xion is, shut up. We aren't doing a full story synopsis here. If you want to know what's going on in this story, go play the games, watch the cutscenes online, or watch an actual synopsis. So after Xion dies, Roxas basically goes sicko mode.
Gone on you with the pick and roll. Younger flame, he in sicko mode.
So somehow, Roxas ends up running into Sora's best friend Riku and gets knocked out by him at some point, and that's where it basically all ends. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Ventus, there already is a remake of this game. Well, it's just a 3-hour long movie of cutscenes, which I would not have a problem with if almost all the missions weren't like this. Now, I know the full game is on the DS with gameplay, but it doesn't exactly look the prettiest or control the best, considering it's on the handheld from 2004. And as Super Mario 64 DS taught us, the D-pad is not always the best thing for a 3D game. But the concept that you're kind of the bad guy for most of the game and the mission system are pretty cool. The missions aren't exactly perfect, and some of the bosses almost made 8 to 10-year-old me snap my DS in half, so that's always fun. But I feel if they weren't restricted by the hardware, they could have actually made this game work a lot better. Also, on the DS, most of the cutscenes are like this. So that's a bit of an issue. One thing I found extremely interesting was the way you equip new items and abilities. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but you could basically get rid of a useless ability and you could use that spot for a potion. Now, I'd like to mention this before I get into the next section. As much as I made fun of the story, it actually had some emotional moments and relatable characters. More relatable than Sora, to be honest. Now, the multiplayer is just the story mode, but you can play with friends who also own the game. Now, growing up, I didn't have any friends who were into the series, so I never got to experience this. Now, I think if they were to put this onto modern consoles, they could have an online mode where you could basically just do the missions from the story mode like you do in the DS version, and on Switch they could even have the local multiplayer just like the original. Overall, Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 deserves a remake out of all the Kingdom Hearts games. It doesn't even have to be an Unreal Engine 4. If it was in the old engine, it would honestly feel more nostalgic to me. I would definitely pick it up. Plus, I'm getting used to how the new games look still. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is actually my first video edited on Premiere Pro. And make sure to follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, because those are the two places I will keep you guys updated on videos and my current situation with the channel. I hope to see you guys in my next video, and peace.